I'm joined today by my dear friend Daphne. Daphne and I have known each other for in excess of 30 years because of creative quilting, but I had no idea until recently, Daphne, that you were a knitter. And this isn't a recent hobby.
No. My mother taught my sister to knit for brownies. They were doing something, I think she needed a badge at brownies. Martine was 9, so I was a tender 4-year-old and insisted on learning at the same time. Martine's only ever knitted one garment, which I managed to lose on a coach
Well, we've got
when
more
I was
than
at
one
university.
here. You're definitely hooked.
However, I carried on knitting. Basically from the age of 4, so more than 60 years, I have been an avid knitter.
Okay, so
I
this
spin
is...
my own yarn at times as well.
Oh my goodness.
So yes, I will do anything with knitting.
So just a snapshot then here.
Just a snapshot.
With
You
us
asked me to
today.
bring a few things.
I did,
So
I did.
I went through trying to find some of the older things.
Yeah.
It made me giggle when you asked me to bring the oldest thing I'd ever knitted. That's lost.
But this
However, this is now approaching its 50th birthday,
Oh my goodness.
which ironically, as things do, are coming back into fashion. So my daughter, Claire, my daughter wears it now.
Stands the test of time, that's for
It does
sure.
stand the test of time.
That's really super.
And I've got tails added to most of my knitting. There's history there.
Okay, so tell us about this one.
Living in Paris for a year at the start of my 20s, I was knitting obviously with French wool. It was much easier to come across yarns then. So knitted this one. It reminds me, it's very typically French, isn't it? A Breton. It was only when I was halfway through I realised I should have had 4 rows to the white, not 2.
Oh, well.
But never mind, it's my own version, and that's really what knittings are like.
Absolutely.
So that goes back a long, long way too.
Okay. One for hubby?
One for hubby. This makes me think of sitting on the balcony at my aunt and uncle's, looking out over the beach with my cousin's wife from South America, and suddenly realising that I was getting through this knitting in no time at all. I had to, when I was studying for my O-levels, my nerves were getting the better of me, so I ended up sitting there with the radio on and my knitting needles going, creating something along this line. It was a twiggy pattern, if you remember back to those days.
Oh, yes.
But very similar to this one, which is a calf facet, or a rowan at least, pattern, but something very complicated. I think I had 12 balls of wool on the needle at one time, and that was my best O-level result.
Well, you've woven it in. Look, we can even see the back.
That is much more recent, and only a couple of colours on the needle at any one time.
It's lovely. So tell us about this one. This I love.
This was the Beast from the East, that freezing cold winter, and I fell in love. I kept going into a local shop, seeing this yarn and thinking, what can I knit with it?
So soft.
So I decided I would do wild knitting. I'd been knitting without patterns for years, and started knitting, put in a cable because I love cables.
Love cables, yeah.
Ran out of yarn. They didn't have the same yarn or the same dye lot, and I wanted to finish it because I was cold. So I went for a contrast and then knitted a great big floppy collar.
This is gorgeous.
To go with it.
This is gorgeous.
So this is my Beast from the East. Everything has a tail.
And tell me about this.
This little one is an Annie Blatt design. Those of you who've been around a while will know that Annie Blatt is quite possibly the queen of commercially available yarn. Uses lots of different yarns, and when yarns were really changing, the whole woolen industry had gone from being something that grannies did to teenagers doing it because of Twiggy. Before calf facet brought in lots of colours, Annie Blatt was the designer, and this is one of hers. It was one of the early silk yarns.
Wow.
With cotton and then with silk thread, so it's embroidery, it's
So
all
she
sorts of different
designed the
stitches.
yarns or the pattern
Both.
or both?
Both.
Oh, right, okay, because this is beautiful, the detail on the side here.
And the
Love that.
Annie Blatt still exists, although it's quite difficult to find these days. Yarn shops have more or less disappeared in France. You can buy cheap yarn, but finding quality yarn is more difficult. I don't spend as much time in France these days, so I'm not quite sure what's happened to it, but I found her on the internet. Because we have the Annie Blatt, the cousin, the uncle whose balcony I was sitting on, very, very much loved uncle, decided he was going to buy me some yarn. So he took me down, my aunt was a great knitter. He took me down to her yarn shop in Royan and bought me this yarn to make this jacket on the spur of the moment. But this jacket has 3 sleeves, one of which is somewhere outside Saint-Malo.
Okay, so lost en route somewhere.
Lost en route. I swear I've knitted 3 sleeves for this, which meant that I ran out of yarn.
Oh no.
So was too embarrassed to tell the tonton for a long time. Eventually admitted it to him.
Okay.
We managed to get another ball from his lady, and I finished it, and then was doing the crochet. This again, it's this silk that you put on the end, was doing this crochet edging and ran out. I was about that much short.
Oh, that's a quilter's tale.
And I've spent a long time with my cousin's help in France, and then on the internet managed to track it down and finished this, fortunately in time to show my uncle before he died.
It's beautiful.
And this, it's a beautifully warm jacket.
I bet. Yeah, I can tell that. Lovely.
And I wear it thinking always of him.
Of him, absolutely.
Yes, very, very fond memories of that one.
Well, talking about jackets, and actually cables I've learnt today are something that you enjoy and you're going to share with us at Just Hands On.
Lots of cables.
So this is a lovely jacket.
And this is a Yorkshire jacket. It's Wensleydale yarn.
Okay.
Bought in the Dale itself. Okay. Fell in love with it. Hadn't a clue what I was going to do with it when I bought the yarn. Saw this jacket and thought, yes, that's it.
Okay.
So knitted this
these
one.
Lovely cables.
It is. You've got the trellis on the front.
And what are these bobbly bits?
Blackberries is what they're referred to.
Okay, wow.
So a bit like French knots in embroidery. You just knit into the same stitch time and time again.
Get a bobbly effect.
Oh, it needs washing.
Oh, there we go.
It
well loved.
Yes, it does go in the machine.
Super.
Believe it or not. Oh. Very rugged. But it was a little bit, because it's rugged, it was a bit rough to wear. And it was such a jacket, I didn't want it to lose its shape. So I decided to line it. So I just made a lining for it.
Yeah.
And that has seen me through many a winter. And then perhaps my largest garment.
This has a weight to it as well as a story, I think, if you're honest. It is very heavy.
And Caf Fassett really hit with his knitting when he came, K for Caf. Knitted in one. So
what do you mean?
In one there are no seams, you don't have separate pieces. You literally start at the back, knit up to the collar, and then work back down, go off to knit a sleeve, and then carry on back down.
So did this come as a pattern, or did you make this up?
It was a pattern. It's
you
one
followed
of his
something.
patterns a very long time ago. Sad thing is, I'm very short.
He started as a knitter, didn't he?
He did start as a knitter.
Yes.
I'm very short, so when I finished it, I realised it was too long.
Oh.
It was dragging along the ground. And the only way to take this out was to take a whole star. Now, undo a star from where you've just cast off is easy, but undo it from where you've cast on takes forever.
Oh, and you were a good girl and you did do that.
I did do it and then redid the
edging.
The edging.
Well, you wouldn't know, but it's been lovely. It's lovely.
Then I thought, well, something like this deserves a special set of buttons. I couldn't find anything that I liked. So I asked the art teacher at school for her advice, and she made me my own buttons.
Oh, nice.
So these
are pottery buttons?
They're pottery buttons.
Okay, nice.
A one-off. My own
unique
buttons.
To you.
Yes, I'm very, very proud of that.
Yeah. So this is some of your history. So what are you up to now?
Well, now I'm very, very busy.
Involved with creative quilting
Involved, even more involved with creative quilting. When you said last year, Daphne, I've just heard you love knitting. I'm thinking of introducing yarn to the shop.
I know. Thank you so much. It's been great fun.
That's it. First lockdown, I was knitting scarves and socks and all sorts for the shop, and a jumper.
And you've designed a beret.
I've designed the beret.
You're going to do a workshop for us?
Yes, I'm doing a workshop on that one, and we've got kits in the shop.
We have.
I've done socks, and these are our gorgeous robin socks that I knitted for Christmas. And I also made Emma in the shop, our wonderful manager, some lacy ones in a blue with a glitter. And unusually,
glitter.
Whenever I've knitted with glitter before, it's been really harsh and I've not enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think of it a bit like this.
Yes,
possibly.
but the glitter in the West Yorkshire Spinners yarn is so
nice?
soft.
No,
it's really beautiful. And then I've knit a little bolero for my granddaughter.
Oh, that's so sweet.
So the pattern exists as an adult pattern, but I just made it to fit her. And the first one I made was a bit small, so I've gone again. And hopefully she will wear it before she grows up.
I was going to say, she changes sizes. So.
She changes sizes, but if not, my goddaughter has a little girl, so it will go through the family.
That's lovely.
So we can do things like that. So yes, knitting lots of things.
Well, thank you, Daphne, for joining me today and for doing some lovely Just Hands-on workshops which we can't wait to view. Thank you so much.
I'm curious too. Thank you. It's been fun, Val.
Good.
Thank you.